Hello everyone, welcome back to Hushhushtabootalks with Juju and Shay. I'm Shay.
Juju here.
And today's episode, we are doing something a little more spicy today. Another spicy episode.
That's what the kids say.
Yes, it's going to be sexual energy exchange.
Y'all spoke, we listened. Y'all some freaky deeks, so
Oh,
I guess
Lord.
y'all wanted to hear about the sexual content. So here we go, Marvin Gaye sexual healing. The rest y'all gotta pay for though.
So, right.
All right.
Period.
Well, no, that's a good topic. What you gotta say?
Yeah, so I guess we were talking about this too.
Yeah.
That sometimes, the saying, you are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
But no pun intended. But you are who you have sex with too.
Not the spit take.
I mean, listen.
I can't spit on the devices now. No, you are what you eat.
Come
and
on.
what you eat.
You are who you have sex with
Yes,
as well.
you are.
A lot of people don't speak upon this, but energy exchange is real. Okay? Physical, sexual, any type of exchange through energy is real. That's why I really, in general, and I'm not even talking about sex, sometimes I don't even like being touched by some people, and I don't like being hugged by some people because you don't know what type of intentions they hold or what baggage they got. Because sometimes that's transferable as well.
Oh, yeah.
So when somebody have dark energy and just like a negative force, and think about it, you're sleeping with this person. If this person have toxic negative energy, all that energy is going to rub off on you. You wonder why certain things is not going well in your life. You're wondering why you're unproductive. You're wondering why, things is like, okay, what's going on? Check your partner.
It's true.
I mean, what do you got to say about that?
I feel like I heard it from a reliable source that the person you have sex, when you have sex with someone, you're also having sex with all of their recent partners. All of them.
All of them.
Not just two.
Not just two.
But the one who might have had chlamydia and all that.
And bad energy and toxic energy, and you don't know this and you don't know that about them. Lord help.
Yeah, the physical, which is STDs potentially, and the metaphysical, which is energy. It's all of those.
I like that. The metaphysical, as well.
It's all the things that we see and that we don't see, that we feel that we don't feel. Maybe we see it and feel it when it's too late. Because I used to have sex more discriminately. I used to just, like if you're attractive, and always protection, but I didn't care. I didn't really care, like whether they were seeing therapists or whether they knew what they were into, what made them happy, what made them unhappy, like what are they navigating their shadow selves, all these things. Are you vegan? Because now I'm like, you gotta be. I think I'm setting myself up to just be single for the rest of my life, which is fine.
Right.
Because then I know that I can't give myself X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Whether it's baggage or STI.
Right.
Nowadays, I'm definitely more discriminate. I'm definitely more selective. I don't expect the partner necessarily to be vegan, but when there's bodily fluids exchanged, it would be nice if the person were as close to my lifestyle as possible.
Healthy eating, basically. Even if it's not vegan, everything under consumption. Monitoring what you consume.
The consumption.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Doctor. Maybe he's a doctor. Farrakhan. He was saying that the countries that eat more of the red meats and the the aggressive animals, like bison and all that, they tend to be more warlike.
Yeah.
And the countries that are more pescatarian or more vegetarian seem to be not more docile, more peaceful and more measured in their actions and in their ways. So I'm like, yeah, you got to see like what people are eating and how they respond to, not react, but how they respond to life circumstances. Ooh. And I feel like a lot of it, like when you see all these fights and all the, like, if you go on IG and just like for 5 seconds and you see there's a fight at McDonald's and Popeyes and this and that, like usually normally you do not see a fight in a Hell's Kitchen restaurant, like the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood in Manhattan. Right. Like you don't see. So, and I'm not saying that you have to have money, that if you have money that you're well behaved. Right. I'm saying that there's this food that has like 27 ingredients in a freaking chicken patty, and it should just be chicken and maybe breading.
Exactly.
Maybe they trigger lower vibrational behavior.
Ooh. And I like that. That's deep. Because you know what? I was with a friend. We were out and the menu served alligator bites. And I asked her, I said, well, have you ever ate alligator before? And she made a good point. She was like, no. She was like, I don't think I want to consume that. that is a mean and green animal. Now, something that's a mean and green and fierce animal, why would you want to put that into your body? So that makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm like,
and
you're
it's
right.
a reptile.
It is a reptile at that.
Maybe reptilians wouldn't mind eating reptiles. Let me check. Oh, no, I don't have a tail. I'm good. It's the truth.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And when she said that, I'm like, click, 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 like something like ding, ding, ding. Yeah, that's true. Like, I never thought about it like that. Like, why would you want to eat snake and alligator and all these things that are monsters, real life monsters at that, you know what I'm saying? So that is definitely a consumption, and wanting to know what your partner even puts inside their body in general is definitely an important thing. Also how they handle things emotionally. Sometimes I'm not maybe this will stir up some controversy, but sometimes your depression is not your depression.
Right. I'm just now learning that. And I'm off meds. You know, what do you call it?
No,
in a supervised way. Like, you know, like I'm not I didn't cut myself off.
Right.
But yeah, no, I was, what do you call it? When you're medically supervised and you go and you taper off. And then I've been off for like maybe almost 2 decades now.
Right.
But yeah, when I was in it, I was like, I'm responding and reacting at that point to outside stimuli that are not my own.
Right.
At least 2 of my bullies had committed suicide that I know of way after they had bullied me, but I had found out about it from a secondhand source. So these are things, they were suffering anyway. You know, that was their own bullshit anyway. It's just that I was the object of their anger that they had for themselves. Total projection.
Absolutely.
I just want to go back to if there's an indigenous group or somewhere like, you know, Alaskans, for instance, or Eskimos, or any indigenous people who you're right. But the ones who eat only what they have around them, and they do it in a spiritual and sacred way. I feel like that's different than just willy-nilly, I'm going to eat whatever, and not, because they kill what they eat and they thank what they kill before they eat it, and as they're killing it.
Some of them praise what they eat before they kill it.
And all that. And I thought that all of that's energy too. But if you have any and all of these options, and you're choosing the reptiles, then maybe you're a reptile.
Yeah. But it's true. Like, sometimes maybe when you're... Okay, so toxic relationships is like a big thing. We see this online. We see this in reality TV. We don't want to say no names.
Or maybe we do. Is it going to drive the numbers up? No. Go ahead. They know who they are. we see this in reality TV. Like, people are, you know, physical abuse, verbal abuse towards each other. And then you're going to actually have intercourse with each other with that type of emotion, that type of hatred, that type of emotion that causes anger and hurt and pain. You want to have intimate intercourse with that person that's causing you pain, that's causing you toxic behaviors, that's causing you to rethink yourself and putting you down verbally or physically, whatever it is. You want to have intercourse with this person? That's what, hey. Well, how would you differentiate?
How and why?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people are like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and then it's like, oh, fuck me. And like 5 seconds out, like it goes from fuck you to fuck me.
But that's toxic. That's not healthy.
No.
That's not that, and that's only forcing negative entities into your life and into your mindset. You will never have a positive life. And no matter how much money these people have, your mind can be your heaven or your hell. You cannot have a prosperous mind if you going back and forth with that hatred and nastiness. It's just not energy, sexually, energy-wise. And like you said, even their past, who they had sex with, you're taking on all that energy, all that emotions, all that stuff from other people. You know what I mean?
No, it is.
And that, like you said, metaphysical, that's a whole lot of toll on yourself.
Right. You see chlamydia, you see these things. No, I'm saying there's medication for that. Well, you know, but that's physical and tangible, and there's physical medication and processes to heal yourself.
No, you're right.
You don't see that what do you call it? The baggage that it brings you. You don't see the emotional, mental turmoil, trauma. Yeah. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. You don't see the trauma that it
comes with,
manifests on you until it's you might see it when it's too late. You don't. But you know, those are things like the emotional and spiritual that the Western, like the the non-Oriental, the non-Asian countries, they focus more on the physical and less on the spiritual. Now we're getting back into it. But, and then I feel like, but it's all holistic. It's physical, mental, it's both and. It's not either or. I wanted to ask you though, since you're talking about like fighting with someone, like, you know, fuck you back, and then they engage in sex. What's the difference between that, or is there a difference between that and makeup sex? Like fighting and then reconciliatory sex. Is there a difference between having a toxic exchange and then having sex, and arguing over something that's long-term and having sex?
You know, and people probably gonna bash me for this, but I never believed in makeup sex.
Got you. Okay.
I never believed in it. Like, after I have a negative exchange with you, I don't want to be touched by you. And that's just me. You're the same way? Okay, we're here.
I only asked you because I don't have an example where I practice makeup sex. Because I never wanted to touch them again.
Exactly, and that's because we're empaths.
Right.
And a lot of people are like us out there. But because after a negative exchange, I don't want to be touched by you.
No.
Why the hell would I want you to touch me after that?
I don't even want you to, much less
I don't want, no, absolutely not. Don't touch me. Let me breathe. Let me be in my own space for a little bit. Let me get back to my mindset before I can get back into yours again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I want to. So no, I never was the type that believed in makeup sex. Never.
I got you. No, same here.
Yeah.
Touch is so important too.
Touch
I was in college.
So important.
Either way,
yes,
it's really important. It's significant if it's good, and if it's significant if it's not. I was in college, and we were all drunk as a skunk like most of the time. And I'm probably me more than most. And anyway, we were going through, I must have been in my sophomore year, freshman or sophomore. I don't think I was, by junior year, I think that I had mastered my emotions. Or I called myself doing that. But maybe sophomore year, we were walking down the residential ways, and we were all popular. I hugged this woman, and maybe we were like 20 or 19, so maybe not technically adults, but whatever, we were young adults, we were merging into adulthood, and I hugged her, and I was like, oh hey, how are you? And I didn't know her, and she was Muslim, or I would assume, because she had the headdress, and then she kind of she sat like, she was like this while I was hugging her, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I didn't know that touch and certain things were forbidden, unless you were, unless it was matrimonial.
I agree with that.
I was really drunk, but I sobered the fuck up after that. And I'm like, okay, don't do that again. Like, just say hi with your words. You don't have to touch everyone. And the older I got, and I don't practice any specific religion, I'm spiritual, but the older I got, the more wary I got of touch. And people touching me, even if it was from a good place.
Yes.
It's like, please don't touch me. Unless I invite you. And you'll know.
Yes.
So touching anyway.
Absolutely.
Even a hug.
And even I have a story for that. Yes.
Yeah.
I used to hang out with this girl way back in the day, way back in the early 20s. And her energy, every time I got around her energy, I felt drained after. But she was always touchy-feely. She was always, yeah, touching me when she talks, and like rubbing on my arm, or like just really touchy-feely. And I'm like, all of that, every time I hung out with her, my energy felt drained. And I'm like, well, what was all that? Was that energy transference, which is, I'm going to, put this on you, because you don't know people's intentions. I don't like you, because you're touching me here, you touch me there, hitting people like this. I don't believe in that. Please don't hit me.
Right.
Because you're going to get hit back, and not in a good way.
Yeah. And these days, if you look at someone the wrong way, that might cost you your life.
Right. Yeah. So don't do like this to me.
Right.
When you're talking. I don't like that.
Yeah.
If you want to get my attention, use your voice. But that's what she was doing. And back in the day, I wasn't thinking like, oh, well, is she doing this to be rude, or is she doing? I'm just thinking, oh, she's just, that's just her. I'm dismissing it.
Yeah.
But now looking back today, that was energy transference that I didn't need and didn't want. It was something. It was coming from a negative place because I fell out with that girl, and she was just a negative spirit.
Oh, I see. I was gonna say, do you think it was conscious or subconscious? Either way, it was bad.
Either way, it was bad. Either way, it was bad, because why would I feel like I was swimming the Pacific Ocean every time I came from your house?
Oh no!
Like, I felt that drained, and that energy was real.
Yeah.
Like you said, touch is very important. So imagine sex with a person like that. If that energy is saying, oh, I go to hell, or I'm demonic, or I'm this, I'm that. If you know.
No, it's like, oh, you are? No. Okay.
If you say those type of things, and you're having intercourse with that, where does that put you?
Right. You're allowing that into, and I have had sex.
You're allowing that in.
What do you call it? Granting consent. They don't do it unless you have consent, like any entities at all, like physical, spiritual, whatever, doesn't, unless you allow it. And you can allow it subconsciously, which I think is the kicker, because it's like, if you don't know about it, how can you allow it or remove it or repel it? But I feel like it's a matter of hyper awareness. I feel like I've had, you know it after though, but the thing is sometimes after you want to be proactive, not reactive.
Right.
So I have it, but also, I want to say, when I realized that the more indiscriminate sex I had, the more toxic I was as well. The lower vibrating I was and the lower frequency I was vibrating on. If I was just like, oh, any old person will do if they're attractive and if there's protection involved, then I realized in retrospect that I was getting drunk more often. I was making more careless decisions more often. I was neglecting myself more often. Not that everyone should be vegan, but for me, that's the way to go. And I wasn't vegan when this was happening. When I was vegan, I was much more selective about my paramour, so to speak.
Right.
So I do feel it. So it you know, people like to always say, well, it's you, and it's you, and it's you, and it's you. In retrospect and in deep meditation, I can look back and say that I contributed at least 50%. Or 51% because I'm consenting to it. It wasn't like these things weren't consensual. They were consciously consensual. Yeah. I just wasn't fully conscious of my contribution to it. And then when I elevated, and my partners became fewer, but I became more happy. I became more whole.
And it's all because you woke up, like here.
Exactly. Yeah. And you don't have to be vegan to do that.
Because when we see we're here, we're like, oh, they're attractive. Oh, they're attractive. But when we see we're here, we're like, oh, hell no, get away from me.
Girl.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
It is different.
Spiritual awakening is definitely different when it comes to sexual energy and sexual moves.
Yes.
So I definitely agree with you on that. Like, definitely, because that's a must. Like, when you see somebody, you can see somebody and then you can see somebody.
Right.
You know, and then you could feel.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about physical touch, I'm talking about energy-wise.
And intuition.
Yeah. So, yeah, that takes the cake.
Yeah. I had to sit back and say, did I do all of that?
Yeah.
And I certainly did.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing, like, we've all had trauma when we were children, but I'm talking about the decisions I made as a conscious or a semi-conscious adult. You know, I was never violated in that way, so I have to take ownership of all those choices.
Right.
And then you wake up and then you don't have the beer goggles anymore, so they're not even physically as attractive as you thought they were. And then you're like, okay, gotta go to the clinic. Thank God I've never, but thank God the clinic was always like, you are negative for X, Y, Z. I did have a doctor though during COVID who I was going for something completely different, and he just took it upon himself to say, we're going to give you an AIDS test. Do you want anything else? I wasn't even there for no STDs. I was there for a fucking bunion. We can talk about it another time, but I guess we're talking about violation right now. So I'm skeptical of Western medicine unless I have pneumonia and I need some kind of something.
ASAP.
Right. No thanks. I'm not going to have you presume because of your interpretation of who I am and my sexual orientation, Mr. Man.
Right.
That that you're going to presuppose that I have this or that, and you're going to have me get tested for it.
Right.
So I'm like, I guess you can, because I feel like arguing with this man. I really just wanted the consultation for the bunion, and then he turns around and says, "Oh, you're clean as a whistle," and I'm like, I know. You have to have sex to have an STD.
Right.
Okay, so anyway, speaking of sex, which is what we're talking about. Yeah, no, but I think it's mind, body, and spirit, and all of those, and there's Kundalini, and all of that, tantric sex, and the Buddhists and all of that talk about it as well. That you have to be somewhere in the same focus with so you have to be focused on similar things.
Too.
Same frequency.
I feel like if you're operating on low frequency and you have intimacy with a partner, then you're gonna give that low frequency to your partner, no matter what vibrating level that partner is on.
Right.
You can never and that's the horrible thing about it. You see, high energy can never put high energy onto somebody else. Only low energy can be put onto somebody else. It's horrible. I don't know. But it's true.
It is true.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be low and then have sex with somebody else and then they're high and then you're like, oh, I'm high energy now. No, bitch.
Right.
You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to work on you first to match their energy.
Yeah.
But if you're low frequency and you're both vibrating low, then that shit has attracted it to each other.
Yeah, no, and then you don't realize the toxicity that both of you guys manifest.
Yeah.
Or possess.
Right.
That's true. And then they said
It's
something
blind.
like it is. And then the blind leading the blind, but then everyone's blind, so no one knows it's offensive or toxic or hurtful to themselves, much less to the other person.
Right.
And I heard that it takes something like 5 or 7 positive thoughts, something like that, to combat one negative thought. I think the issue is the conditioning, like we've talked about ad nauseum on our platform. We're conditioned into low vibrational, the systems that operate, they need to live lower vibration, fear, hate, and all those things. Lust, we're talking about lust now, to thrive. If we're all whole, and if we all come from understanding and love, then we're less susceptible to these booby traps, which became normal.
Right.
Because, we were born into it. It's not our fault. It's our responsibility to decondition.
Right.
But yeah, it's become the norm. And you turn on BET or MTV or our kids are looking at porn now. It's just like, it's crazy that all they see is unhealthy examples of love or lust. So it's up to us to, to pivot that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially black love, and I want to cut this off because we that's a whole episode.
That's part 2 at least. Yeah.
What they portray of black love out here for our children to watch and say, oh, this is a good example of a relationship is bullshit. So I just wanted to say that before we cut this off because that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, sure.
We can get into that.
Well, we'll do that sooner than later.
Yeah.
I'm down. Amen.
So thank you guys for watching us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
So I got
Any recommendation?
Cool down. I know. I gotta take a cold shower for the next one. All right.
Thank you guys for watching. You can catch us on
Hush_podcast on IG. We're also on TikTok. Hush Hush Podcast. If you Google Hush Hush Podcast, you'll find us. YouTube and Spotify as well.
Yes.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is part of our work, so we would appreciate that.
Yes, and also we're open to recommendations and requests.
That
Just let us know. That are meaningful.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Peace.